Kia ora koutou, hello lovely people, Markie here, old grizzly, with a Retroactive Jealousy video. Now, I'm really annoyed with myself because I thought I'd made this video before, and if I have, I can't find it. And it was based off a written piece that I wrote, which I can't find either, so very frustrating. So this is about values. So if this kind of seems familiar as you listen to it, you know, it might be something that I've released as a video before, but under what title I do not know. So you know, I won't be offended if you drop out. Although it helps us promote the channel, get more coverage on YouTube if you watch the video all the way through, and it helps us a lot if you subscribe and leave a nice comment and all those kinds of things. So, and it helps us at Retract even more if you sign up on the Patreon channel, because that kind of gives us a little bit of income with which to spread the word, spread the gospel of retroactive jealousy. Get the good news. Good news being that you're not alone, you're not mad. It's a thing, and there is help for it to people all over the world. That's what we want to do. So this is this missing video, missing document is about values. And people often ask the question, you know, is this retroactive jealousy, or is this just my values, that, you know, my partner has got different values to me, maybe we're incompatible. Now, I've done another video about values, but it's not covering this topic. That's one that I am able to find, and when I get a chance I'll put a link to it below in the description box. Which is talking about where values come from, and the values aren't set in stone, that we have values, you know, if we have values that are causing us a problem, we can change them. But we're going to leave that aside for now. We're going to just keep it very simple. You know, is retroactive jealousy about, is it retroactive jealousy? You know, are the symptoms that I'm experiencing, the distress that I'm experiencing in this relationship, is it about retroactive jealousy, or is it about clash of values? Okay. But do check out those other videos, because they will give you look at the topic a little bit more widely, I guess. So I devised an exercise, which is where you kind of draw a grid, and on the left hand side I suppose I can't remember whether things are X and Y axes. It's been too long since I've been to school. So I'm just going to say on the left hand side and on the top, but it's kind of like a graph really, or a grid. Okay, so on the left hand side, or you can do it in a different way if you prefer, you know, I don't want to be didactic and dictatorial about these things. You write down all the different areas where your RJ, or where what you think might be RJ is affecting you in terms of your thoughts. Okay, so if you're distressed because your partner, you think, made a bad choice of partners, then you would put along that axis, you would put something like choice of partner. If you think if you're upset because your partner had casual sex and you think casual sex is a bad thing, and you put casual sex. If your partner had a threesome and you think threesomes are a bad thing and that's troubling you, that's part of your symptomology, put threesomes. If the way your partner expresses his or her sexuality is something that bothers you, then you put that. So you get the gist. So let me see if I can give you a few more examples though, because it might be helpful just to list a few things. So sometimes you know, there are RJs about past stuff, but sometimes other things kind of go with it. So it might be, you might have issues with how your partner dresses, you know, whether they dress modestly, or do you think they dress in a way that is more provocative. And I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs and judgments of that. You know, this is about getting well. This isn't about moral debate. What else could you put in that column? So if you've got more of the female subtype of RJ, or if you've got a mixed male-female RJ presentation, then you might be more focused around relationships than sex. So choices around marriages and long-term relationships might come into that. So you've got a whole list of stuff on the one hand side of a graph, and then either along the bottom, depending on how you're going to do it, it's more of a grid than a graph really. So I'll probably put it along the top. Is you put okay for me, okay for men, okay for women, okay for my partner. Okay, so, and then what you're going to do is take each one from the left hand and plot it where it matches, which square of the grid it matches on the upper axis. Sorry, I should be using all proper mathematical terms for this, but I'm not. So then what it leaves you with is a very clear representation, physical, visual representation of your thought processes. And when they're in black and white and visual, they're much easier to objectively analyze and just kind of see, what's going on here, because you'll see where the contradictions stand up. So if something's okay for men and your partner's a man, but it's not okay for your partner, it's like, why is that? And if something's okay for you, but it's not okay for women, or it's not okay for other men, or if it's not okay for your partner. So basically what it does is it flags up all the, sorry about the sirens going past, it flags up all the, what's the best word, the disparities and discrepancies in your thinking. So you can think, hang on a minute, that doesn't fit. If because values, generally speaking, if something is a value, it should be consistent, right across the board. That would kind of define a value. But if you've got a value that just applies to you, or a value that just applies to your partner, and nobody else in the world, then that shows that there's something distorted around your thinking. And this might not necessarily tell you whether you've got RJ or not. There's other ways of telling whether you've got RJ. Excellent way of telling whether you've got RJ is to fill in one of our questionnaires on the website, and we can give you. We don't, it's not a diagnosis that we give, but it's an indication. But it's pretty accurate, as long as you give us accurate information when you fill it in, of course. Those questionnaires on the website, by the way, are done. They're not automated. They're done by me, so they come to me. They don't always come straight to me, and when they do come straight to me, I'm not always able to do them immediately, although I do try and do them as soon as I can. So if there's a bit of a delay in your reply, don't panic. I look at them and give a response of what is indicated. So it's not, like I say, it's not a diagnosis, but it's an indication, and it's likely to be pretty accurate. Just another point, we're on the topic of those questionnaires. Lots of people put their emails in incorrectly. And if you put your email in incorrectly, we're not able to send a reply, and you'll think that we just haven't bothered. So quite often I get an email, I reply to one, and the email just bounces back. So please be very careful. And the other thing to bear in mind when we respond to you is, because we put confidential usually as the title for the email, that sometimes ends up in people's spam. So if you send in a questionnaire, which I recommend you do, we will reply. Sometimes it's immediate, sometimes it's it's usually within 7 days at the longest, and we'll give you, like I said, an indication. It's not a diagnosis, it's an indication. And what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought. I thought it was a bad idea to make a video right now because I'm really tired today, very tired. So yeah, fill in a questionnaire, and we'll get back to you, and check your spam and make sure you put your email address in there correctly. So have a crack at this values exercise. Like I say, it's not, it's one of these kind of things that gives a definite answer. It doesn't come out. That's me making a kind of computery noise. I don't know why I did that really. That's kind of how computers sounded in science fiction films in the 70s. Kind of, if it doesn't give you like a readout, you are definitely, it's definitely a values issue. It's definitely RJ. but what it does is flags up things that don't add up, and also flags things that do add up, and then you can draw your own conclusions from that. Or if you're working with a therapist, you can take it to your therapist and go through it with them, or a good friend maybe, review it with somebody. So I hope this video wasn't too incoherent, and I hope that exercise makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know nicely in the comments. If anybody has tried that exercise and wants to share, we're not nosy, we don't want to know your results, that's very personal to you, but be interesting to hear what your experience of doing the exercise is. And check out the questionnaires on the website. That's another thing to do if you're not sure if it's retroactive jealousy or if it's values. There's a few things you can do there, just to check that out and work it out. It's not, like I say, but it's not like a scientific thing. It's like anything to do with I don't really like the term mental health, but anything to do with the mind, the psyche. It's not like medicine where you can have a blood test that tells you whether you're diabetic or not, and it's very black and white. These things are very subjective and very nuanced. So that's why having a therapist is good, because it's somebody that knows about this stuff that you can talk to and work these things through with. So before I garble any more of this message, I'd also like to wish all people in the RJ world, whether that be sufferers, ex-sufferers, colleagues, fellow consultants, partners. Did I say partners already? I probably did. Or anyone that's just got an interest in RJ. I want to wish you all a fantastic Christmas, because I'm recording this just before Christmas. Happy New Year and all that kind of stuff. As always, there'll be more retroactive jealousy content, but we don't just pump it out for the sake of it. We make an RJ video when we've got something useful to share, or when we've lost the previous video and we're saying the same thing because we can't find what we said before. Thank you for your support, and catch you in the next one, which may or may not be about retroactive jealousy, maybe about something else, but there always will be retroactive jealousy stuff on this channel. And thank you for all your support, and you can get well from retroactive jealousy. You just have to put the work in and get the right help, and make sure you're barking at the right tree, and you will get well. Rangimarie, best wishes, take care, Merry Christmas, au revoir.